Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my Loverlies. If you've never been here before, I'm so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Guys, today is True Love Tuesday. And today's story kind of combines two of my favorite things. So a great love story and old Hollywood. I'm so excited. It's going to be a really, really great story. We're going to be talking about Grace Kelly. Y'all, she is so iconic. She was the epitome of just self-assured, quiet glamour in the 50s. She was absolutely fantastic. I love like all of her movies. She was Country Girl. She was in To Catch a Thief. She was in oh my gosh, Dial M for Murder. Guys, she did a lot of really, really great movies. She actually only did maybe 11 movies in total before she met the prince and got married and quit Hollywood. But guys, even in just the short amount of time that she was in films, she was just such a huge success. She was just so graceful, and oh, I love her so much. So we're going to talk about her love story. She actually ended up marrying the Prince of Monaco. Do we all know what Monaco is? Because we're talking about Monte Carlo, guys. We're talking about like one of the richest places on earth. Honey, I'd put Hollywood for that stuff too, for sure. So while I talk about this story, we're going to be doing this kind of eye look. I wanted to use my new palette. It's the new Ace Beaute palette I picked up for my birthday. This is Ace Beaute Falling For You. It's a really, really beautiful, very fall themed palette. I guess that's in the name. It's really beautiful. It reminds me of like pumpkin spice and just all kinds of like warm coziness. Really, really beautiful palette. Definitely probably not for this time of year, but it translated today into a very kind of sunset eye. Y'all know I love a good sunset eye. Warm tones just make me happy. So that's what we did. We did kind of a halo eye. Not really a spotlight, but more of a halo eye effect. Really, really pretty. I don't have anything on my face except for a little bit of moisturizer. I also have a little bit of lip liner on because, y'all, I am looking super pale today. I have not been feeling the best, which is why today's video is a day late. I couldn't film. I have not been feeling well at all, and I don't want to go into it too awful much. Just I feel a little bit better now. I'm still not 100%, and I'm still not like, you know, all there, but I love to film, and I love talking to you guys, and you know, doing my makeup. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm just going to jump right into the makeup. Guys, if I don't tell you everything that I'm doing while I'm doing it, I will list everything in the description box below, along with the links to all of my other social medias. If you guys are not following me on my other socials, please do so. It means more to me than you will ever know. And before you leave today, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. I'm missing a thumb. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Let me know that you guys are liking True Love Tuesdays. Let me know if there's something else that you guys would like me to try out. Let me know if you liked the eye look. Let me know if you hated it. Anything y'all have to say, I want to hear. Okay, so diving right into it, I've already got my eyeshadow primer on. I am still working on this thing. It is almost gone. This is the NYX Ultimate Shadow and Liner Primer. It is the eyeshadow primer that just will not end, and I'm here for it. So first, a little backstory, maybe not even a lot of backstory on Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly, she was very new to Hollywood. I think she was filming Country Girl during the time that she met Prince. I think his name is Prince Rainier or Rain. I don't speak French and I just don't know. So we're just gonna call him Prince R. Prince R. But the whole thing starts after Grace got done filming Country Girl, which was a musical drama. She won a bunch of awards for it. She actually ended up winning Best Actress for that movie, for her role in that movie. And because of that, she was invited to the Cannes Film Festival. Everybody knows that's held in France, in Cannes. It's a really, really big deal. It was still relatively new. Back then, what was it? It was in I think it was 1954. Okay, I'm bad with dates. I think it was 1954. She won the Best Actress. She's going to Cannes. She's going to the film festival. And to get to all the starlets back in the day, you know, the luxury travel back then was trains. So all of the stars that are invited to Cannes, they all take this really beautiful like luxury train. And this is where our story begins. Guys, I probably won't even end up doing much makeup because I'm just going to sit here and enjoy telling you all the story. I'm just going to use one brush for the whole thing. This is the Dew Color 08. It is just a teeny tiny, like small shader brush. I'm going to go into dark shade right now. So this whole story starts on the train. Now, again, she's on her way to Cannes, and she's on this train with all kinds of stars, one of which being Olivia de Havilland, okay? And if y'all know anything about old films, and old Hollywood, you know, a classic is Gone with the Wind. We are talking about the original Scarlett O'Hara. Okay, Scarlett is on the train, guys. She is on the train. She is on the train with her, she's newlywed to her husband. What was her husband's name? I'm so bad with names. Felipe? What was it? Was it Felipe or was it, what was it? Pierre. Okay, she's on the train with her husband, Pierre. Her husband, Olivia's husband, is actually the one who came up with the idea to introduce Grace to the prince. So they're all on the train. They're all headed to Cannes for the film festival. And Olivia is, you know, in the car with her, in the train car with her husband. And they find out that Grace Kelly's on the train, and instantly Pierre is like, oh. So he works at a magazine. He works at the Paris Match. So this is like a matchmaking magazine. This is where he works. He's really, really great at his job, and he instantly gets the idea in his head that he needs to do a little bit of matchmaking. Okay, so he decides that he should introduce Grace Kelly to the Prince of Monaco. He thinks in his brain that they would be a fantastic match. And he is the one who sets the wheels in motion. And Grace Kelly will forever thank him and be thankful to him for introducing her to her husband. So he charges Olivia with finding Grace and, you know, kind of seeing what's up, gauging her mood, you know, everything, you know, trying to see if she would be just a little bit interested in meeting the Prince of Monaco. Now, who wouldn't be interested in meeting the Prince of Monaco? At this point, Grace isn't sure that Grace has no idea what's going on. She has no idea that Pierre's in on it. She has no idea that, like, she doesn't know what's going on. So what happens is Olivia starts hunting for Grace, and she finally finds her as she's just about to enter into the dining car. And she said in an interview that she found Grace standing on the platform between two cars, about to enter the dining car. She said Grace was starving, and she asked Grace if Grace would be interested in meeting the prince. And of course, you know, use your words. So when she recalls this encounter with Grace, Olivia says that she instantly got the impression that Grace was a very self-assured but quiet and educated, well put together young woman. She was very reserved and self-possessed, not in a bad way, but just kept to herself. and very reserved. So, you know, she wasn't like, oh yeah, let's go, I'm down. So she says, she doesn't say no instantly, but what she does say is she says, yes, I will, if my studio approves it. So she's on her way to Cannes, but her trip is being sponsored by her studio, which is MGM Studios at the time. And if you don't know anything about the way that studios handled actors and actresses back then, a lot of times they would sign like really, really long-term contracts with actors and actresses. So essentially that actress belonged to that studio, or that actor belonged to that studio. So she said, okay, I'll go as long as my studio approves it. Well, Olivia goes back to Philippe. I think it's Philippe. I want to keep calling him Renee, but that's the prince's name. So Philippe. Olivia goes back to Philippe and says, yes, but we got to get approval from the studio. So Philippe is on it. Is his name Philippe? I think it's Philippe. Anyway, Mr. Hubby's on it. He instantly gets on the phone. He's talking to managers. He's talking to studios. And then that night he sits down to dinner with his editor, because his editor is on the train as well. And, you know, poses this idea to his editor. This could be a really, really great story. You know, the #1 actress of our time, you know, meets this handsome prince, and it's a Cinderella story, right? Cinderella's stories always sell. So the editor-in-chief instantly loves the idea, and they get to work. So when so as soon as they get to Cannes, they all get off the train. I'm going to go into this purple color now. I'm going to do this purple and a little bit of this dark brown. So they all get off the train at Cannes, and Philippe instantly goes to work and starts, you know, setting up a meeting, trying to find, you know, a way to get Grace and the prince together. And he finally comes up. He finally does it. He finally gets approval from the studio. And he finally gets a hold of the prince's people, and they say he has an opening at 4 p.m. And he's like, okay, I'm on it. So he tells Olivia, and Olivia goes back to Grace and says, okay, so you're going to go meet the prince at his palace at 4 p.m. And Grace says, nope, sorry, I can't do it. Can't do it. Not like she's being coy or anything like that, but because it's a work trip, guys, she is accepting her award for her new movie, and she's being sponsored by her studio, and the original meeting time with the prince coincides with a cocktail, not a cocktail party, but a cocktail engagement that she has to do in order to promote her movie. And the cocktail engagement starts at 5:30. So there's no way that she could make it all the way to the palace and back, you know, and have any kind of conversation with the prince and be back, you know, to wherever she's got to be by 5:30. So she says, nope. So poor Philippe, who is bound and determined to make this meeting happen, has to get back on the phone and has to get a hold of all of these people again, has to get a hold of the prince's people yet again and say, well, is there any way that we can move it up? Well, after much discussion, he finally gets the meeting moved up to 3 p.m. Was it 3 p.m.? I think it was 4. No, not 4. I think they got it moved up to like 2:30 or 3 p.m. Plenty of time for her to like go meet the prince, chat it up, and then get back to the hotel or wherever and be back for the cocktail party. So Olivia tells Grace, because Philippe doesn't talk to Olivia, or doesn't talk to Kelly. He tells his wife to go tell Grace that the meeting has been bumped up. And then Grace hears this, and then she agrees. Okay, we'll do it. I can make that. I'm not going to be late. So let's do it. So the meeting is arranged for the next day at 3 p.m. So she goes to bed that night thinking everything is cool, everything is great, and wakes up the next morning. The next morning is the day of the meeting. And she wakes up to no power. The power in the entire city is out, because apparently there's a labor strike going on. So what is a girl to do? Okay, she gets out of the shower. This power suddenly goes out, and she's got wet hair. Her clothes aren't ironed. She can't fix herself. She's got no light. What does she do? So, you know, and like it just speaks to how well put together and how resourceful she was. Because, y'all, she slicks her hair back. She decorates her hair with flowers. There was a bouquet left in her room. She snips the tops off the flowers, puts them in her hair, slicks her hair back, ties it up into a beautiful braid, coiffs everything. She's looking stunning. So, now, what is she going to wear? So, the dress or the clothes that she was going to wear were wrinkled, folded up in her suitcase, and she can't iron them because there's no power. So, what's a girl to do? Well, she takes a dress that she had worn to an event the previous evening, and she does a little this and a little bit of that. She, of course, she sews it and fixes it and refreshes it. She puts on this beautiful silk dress and says, "Okay, I'm ready to go." So it's time. She's running a little bit late. She's running a little bit late because she's had to talk and work. Because she's had to improvise, so she's running a little bit behind. And of course that power's out, so she can't take the elevator. So she rushes down the stairs, followed by all kinds of paparazzi and press. They are hanging on her every move, on her every word. They want to know where she is every second of the day. Okay, it's like a Princess Diana kind of thing. She was Princess Diana before Princess Diana was Princess Diana. So she rushes out, she rushes down the stairs, she rushes out to the car, she gets in the car, and they speed off. Well, the press hop into their vehicles and hightail it behind them. And to make a bad day worse, to make a bad situation worse, they end up getting into a car accident. Not a major one, but a slight minor car accident with the freaking paparazzi. Can't talk today. With the freaking press that are following them. They are riding the tail end of their car, and they get into a fender bender. Well, this makes them late yet again because they've got to stop and they've got to take care of this whole thing now. So by the time Grace and Philippe get to the palace, they've done missed the prince. He's gone. He's a busy guy. He's got a country to run. So instead of meeting the prince, Grace settles for a tour of his. How many rooms was it? Was it like maybe 200 and 250? Some god awful amount of numbers. Some ridiculously large amount of bedrooms, and you know, all kinds. Big palace, huge. Okay, you got to think he's Prince of Monaco, super rich country. Okay, so this again. It's a big estate, so it takes a little while. Well, by the end of the tour, guess what? The prince has arrived, he's back, and he has time to meet with Grace. So they do finally get to meet after all the rushing around and after the car accident and the no power and the trying to like get herself together and the rushing around. They finally get to meet each other. And the onlookers, you know, the press was there, but not really, because, you know, the press was outside. But Philippe and his, like, editor and stuff, they got to document the meeting with photographs and things like that. So, though they were, you know, it was kind of like a meet cute, it was still a publicized event because, you know, they're taking pictures for the magazine. Well, the people, they wrote in the magazine that you could tell that there was instant chemistry. They walked ahead of everyone else, and he actually took her on a tour of his private zoo. Y'all, this man is so rich. This man is so rich that he has his very own private zoo in the middle of his palace. And she is instantly charmed. She is very bedazzled, and she said in a statement later on that when she was telling her family about that she was going to go meet the prince and stuff, she remembered her father saying to her, "Don't be impressed by the money, be impressed by the man." And I think that is such a beautiful sentiment, especially, you know, like, money is such a big important thing, and how can you not be swayed by the fact that you're dating one of the richest, you know, one of the richest princes in Europe, for sure. You know, is Monaco in Europe or is it Spain? Y'all, I don't know geography. Really rich prince though. So she didn't let his money sway her. She really, really assessed his character and all of that, you know, and really the man that he was and what he portrayed to her. So, you know, they're leaning their heads close to each other and they're looking at all the beautiful wildlife and all of the animals. And unfortunately, all too soon, the meeting comes to an end. She has to rush out and go to her cocktail engagement, and they don't see each other for a minute. Now, not a lot is known about what happens immediately after their first visit, other than, you know, it's, you know, everybody said they had instant chemistry and that the meeting went really, really well. Olivia de Havilland actually saw her at the cocktail party that evening and said she was glowing. She looked like she was already in love. She said she had an air about her of just happiness, you know. And you remember what it feels like when you fall in love, like, and you really fall in love and you're just completely and entirely just besotted and beside yourself, like just completely infatuated with somebody. And you know, the prince was a handsome dude, tall, dark, handsome, just really just a very good looking, elegant figure, you know. And it would be, it's difficult, but guys, she was engaged. When I read that part, when I was like researching and I found out that she was actually engaged when she went to meet the prince, I was like, what? It kind of blew my mind a little bit. But she was indeed. She was engaged to a designer named Cassia. She was engaged to a designer. I cannot remember names. I'm really bad at that. But so I don't think she really did anything about that. But it was documented that that holiday, that Christmas, the prince flew to Pennsylvania and had Christmas with her and her family. And then soon after that, she flew to Monte Carlo to see his giant pink palace. So yeah, so they definitely hit it off. She did end up breaking her engagement with the designer, and she did end up becoming engaged to the prince, which we all knew was going to happen, or else we wouldn't be talking about it today. But they did end up getting engaged, and because because the paparazzi is the paparazzi and people are vicious, rumors started going around that she wasn't really in love with the prince, that her heart still belonged to her designer, and that the only reason she was marrying the prince was because she was being pressured by her family because, again, of money. Money is one of the world's greatest motivators, unfortunately, and it makes people do stupid things. Fortunately, in this case, that was not true. Though she did indeed love the man that she was engaged to, you know, there's not much you can do when you meet your true love. And I truly believe that you can love more than one person. I am a firm believer that it is very, very possible to love more than one person. But I do believe that you have that one true person that you're supposed to be with. And the prince was Grace's. And so they ended up getting married. And in a statement to address all of the rumors, actually before she boarded the plane, she held a conference before she boarded the plane to go to Monte Carlo to have her wedding. She actually addressed all the rumors, and she was like, I don't take marriage lightly. I don't take, I'm a movie star. I have my own money. If I wanted money, I would go to the bank. I have my own money. She, one of her quotes was, marriage is not something to be stepped into lightly, and certainly not when you're leaving your country and your home to do it. So essentially, when to marry the prince, she had to give up everything. Like she had to leave her country. She had to leave her home, all of her friends, her family. She had to leave her life and go and be the princess of Monaco. So it's a big deal, and certainly not something that someone would do lightly, you know. So they ended up getting married, and they got married in a 2-day, very, very lavish service. On the first day, they had a 15-minute civil ceremony in front of at the courthouse. Their equivalent of the courthouse. They had a 15-minute civil ceremony where after they were officially married, it took an hour and a half for the priest or the officiant to read off all 140 of her brand new titles. Could you imagine getting married and instantly just being one of the most important people in the world. It's absolutely insane to me. So yeah, she had 140 or 100, somewhere around 140, 130, 140 brand new titles. Insanity, right? So the next day is when the big ceremony was held. They went to the biggest chapel in Monaco. They had a super beautiful, lavish ceremony of a religious ceremony, and then you know, they had the party and stuff. But she actually, to the actual like ceremony, the religious ceremony, she actually wore, she had 2 different silk gowns that were handmade for her by a very famous designer at the time, but they were gifted to her by MGM. So as like a goodbye and as a thank you for her time with them, MGM actually purchased her, I guess, her wedding gowns, because 2 beautiful like flowing silk gowns, and they actually ended up staying married for a very long time. After their marriage, Olivia stayed very dedicated to her husband, and they, what am I doing? She was a great wife. They were actually very in love. He was a devoted husband. She was a devoted wife. They ended up having 3 children, 1 boy and 2 girls. I think the girls were Princess Caroline and Princess, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at names. And then they had a boy, Prince Albert or Prince. Okay, so they had 2 daughters and a little boy. And she actually didn't get to hang around too awful long because she ended up dying in a very sudden and tragic car accident in, I think, maybe 10 or 15 years later. Again, because of paparazzi. Very much like Princess Diana. And her husband, Prince Rainier, Prince R, actually mourned her for a very long time and stayed devoted to her until he died in a very long time later. Actually, he lived to be quite old. But their son actually has memories of his mother and his father together, and he said that they were such a loving couple. He said that they were always treated with respect. They always put their children first. They said they were very devoted to their people. It's just a really beautiful story. I think it's so sad that she had to die so young and didn't get to see her children grow up and things like that. But I will say that the life that she led was certainly a blessed one and very enchanted and magical almost, y'all. She was a modern day Cinderella. You know, before there was Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, there was Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier and the Prince of Monaco. So I thought that was a really beautiful story. I love it so much. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything that I kind of missed or left out, but I think that was it. Yeah, they went through all of these hurdles. She was engaged to another man. He had no, really didn't have any idea who she was, really. All he knew was she was some American actress. And for them to just get smushed together for a good story, for a magazine, I think is, fate. It was fate, and they ended up living happily ever after for a good long while, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's so beautiful. Guys, that is our story for today. Our eye look is just about done, but I'm really tired, and my allergies are acting up like crazy. I will, of course, be posting finished pictures over on my Facebook, Makeup for the Everyday Mama. The link for that will be in the description box below, along with everything that I used in today's video. So make sure you go check that out. Also, check out my Instagram and my TikTok. Y'all, I am getting the hang of this TikTok thing, and I love it. I love it so much. Y'all, I love you so very much. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. I know your time is precious, and I am so grateful that you choose to spend it with me. As always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera, telling you guys a story and playing with some makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.